going to be removing the stock lip spoiler from my 2019 Mustang GT. I've had this car for a couple months now. It's got about 3,000 miles on it, and I'm looking to do some stuff, and I'm going to show you how I do it, and we'll see how things come out. Here's the original spoiler, and you know, I've watched some videos on how to do it, and it doesn't look very difficult, except for the fact that there's a ton of glue underneath here, which is going to be a pain. So but really just more so tedious rather than anything, I think. So once we get this off, though, I think there's going to be a couple holes here. I don't know what I'm going to do about that yet, because the spoiler that I'm getting to replace this, it won't cover up these holes. There's 2 holes over here, 2 more holes over here, and I believe those will be reused, so I'm not worried about that, but not sure what to do about the holes that are going to be in the center here. So let's see how it goes. I'm going to set up the camera, set up some light, hopefully everyone can see okay. And again, it's my first video, so I'm sure it's not going to be very good, but we'll see how it turns out. And thinking there might be a little bit of rain today. I don't have a garage, so we're stuck in the makeshift tent, or not really makeshift. It's actually a portable garage, portable tent that I got from a pretty well-known store for not that much money. So, and it works out very well. So I just got it a couple months ago, right after I got the car. So we're going to keep the trunk at least inside here and work in here, so just in case if it does happen to rain, we'll be okay. So I'm going to set up the camera, and we'll get going. Just got to pull out all these grommets here, or whatever, these plastic pins. Maybe not grommets, maybe this is more of a grommet. So we got to pull all these out, and take this gray fabric off and get to some bolts that are in here. And I think there's maybe a couple bolts in here and a couple bolts on the sides. So I think first thing we need to do is undo this, and it should be relatively easy. Or not. Remove this. Now this doesn't just pop off. I actually spent a few minutes trying to figure out how it's even on there, and I tried pulling it off and prying it off, and it doesn't want to come off just by tugging on it. If you can see right here, right there in the center there, if you get, this is kind of what's holding it in. The plastic piece is right. The plastic piece is right on the latch there. It's right behind the latch. So if you get something very small, this is like a PC repair screwdriver, or you get something, something very thin and small, and kind of wedge it in there, and then pull down, you can then get it off. It's kind of hard to do with one hand, so I'm gonna go ahead and put this camera down, and you guys could watch as I do it from the other camera. There we go. So I found easiest way to do it is, let me see how the camera is here, is to kind of wedge the screwdriver. There's a flathead tiny screwdriver. Just kind of wedge it up into here and then push down on this, and then it'll come out. We'll do these first. That was easy. Alright, those plastic like push pins, they're pretty easy to get off too. There. Alright. So there was a total 2, 4, 6, 8. There's a total of 9. There's a total of 9 those plastic screws in there, and now we just got to figure out how to get these out. Trying to see. I see. Sometimes it helps to see how they're in there. So it's actually kind of like almost like it kind of screws in there. You can see a little slot there. Hopefully you can see. So I would imagine that we have to spin that counterclockwise, so that comes out. Let's take a look. We just keep doing this. It should come out, I think. Yeah, so that's really weird how it's a rubber piece but threaded. So that's kind of interesting. Alright, so that'll make the other one easy now that we know how that works. I think you could just kind of throw something up here and kind of do this. That makes it easy too. Alright, I'm going to put the camera back. Alright. So. Alright, we got those out. And we need to make sure that we take this piece out. And there we go. Alright, so we got this piece off now, and there were 9 plastic screws and 2 rubber grommets and 2 of these threaded rubber things. Not quite sure what you call those, but once you got all those out, I remove the emergency trunk release pull tab from there, and make sure that you get this that's just kind of wedged in there through a slit. And now we have everything exposed, and you can see there's a screw, or a bolt rather, with a nut in here. I'm not sure what size it is. Again, I watched a video a long time ago about how to do this. I don't really remember anything. So got 2 more bolts and nuts in here. This just looks like an alignment peg or something, and 1 more nut and bolt over here. The one thing we really need to watch out for when removing these bolts, or the nuts rather, is that this is all open. This is all open inside here. So when you take this nut off, we don't want it falling inside this trunk. So what we'll do is we'll take this and put it almost at a parallel to the ground, so that way when the bolts do come off, they will fall out and not fall into the trunk. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to get some tools, I gotta find out. To get these bolts out here, this is a 10 millimeter nut, so I would suggest using, if you have one, a deep well socket would be better, because the bolt is a little bit long on here, so I would go with the deep well socket. If you don't have one, maybe just pick one up. This is now, I think, the second time already that I've had to have a 10 millimeter deep well socket for this car. I used it also when I was doing the exhaust. Alright, we'll just keep going until it gets close. Once it gets close to the end of the bolt, we'll tip the trunk over. Once it got to the end, once it got near the end, I didn't. I took the ratchet off because I could just do it by hand. And here we go. So 10 millimeter nut off, and just repeat the same thing on the other side. Now that we have that done, we have to take off these two 10 millimeter nuts here as well. And with this one, I mean, you run the same risk of the nut falling inside of here. So make sure once you get it towards the end of the bolt, you could just do it by hand and take it off. So just make sure you don't drop it. Alright, and one more to do. Alright, and that one's to the end. And again, make sure you hold on to that nut. There we go. So I think that is it. I don't think we have to worry about, that's the rear camera, right? That's the rear camera. We don't have to worry about that. So these are all off. So that was the easy part. Now comes the fun part of prying this wing off. So I get my phone out of here first. All right. Alright, so it looks like it's on there pretty good, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to set up some tape and use some fishing line or something to go under there and kind of just cut it. So I think that that'll help remove some of the adhesive, so it'll come off a little bit easier. I can tell that from the way that I'm just kind of prying it off, it's on there pretty good. So we're gonna have to use some sort of method of getting that off. I know that you can use some sort of you could get a heat gun and heat it up, and that should loosen it up. I don't have a heat gun. I have a hair dryer. I don't know if that'll work, but I'm just gonna try without the heat gun first, and see what happens. So I'm gonna get some fishing wire, and I'll be right back. Alright, I had to get more fishing wire. Keeps breaking on me. Fishing line, I should say. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to double it up. Maybe that'll work better. Right there. See that little clip? That had to be popped off. So I think now that I've gotten this far, I'm like in the middle. I'm going to start from the other end again. Or not again, but now. Okay. Take a look. Yeah. It was just more tape, I think. Okay. More glue. There we go. Success. Alright. So, put this on the side. And here's the little orange plastic pieces I was saying that were in here that you have to pry out. So all right, so now we have some cleanup. I'm just going to start by seeing what I can get off with my fingers. It's actually not that bad so far. You know, kind of roll it a little bit. It seems to be coming off okay. Alright, so looks like I'm going to just be doing this for a while. I got all here, and over here. So I'm just going to turn the camera off for now. I'm going to save the battery, and just in case, because I think I'm getting kind of low. If I change my technique, if I wind up doing anything else, I'll turn the camera back on. But while the camera is off, I'm just going to be using my thumb and just doing this, rolling it to get it off. So I'll put it back on if anything changes. Alright, I think that's it. So that is the spoiler delete and or spoiler removal, whatever, delete, removal. I think I'm going to give it a good wash now and get off all the any of this goof off that I put on here. I don't want it really sitting on the paint for too long, so most of the pretty much all the glue is gone. So I'm going to go over it nice with it's soaked in water. I'll cover up these holes from inside, I think, and that way not too much water gets in there. Maybe I'll just stuff some paper towels in there or something to plug them up. Alright, that's it.